because the National Union of Mine Workers is looking to persuade the Chamber of Mines to look at a new job grading system. This will justify the pay rise of up to 60% it is seeking. CNBC Africa's Tumisho Makanyele spoke to the General Secretary of NUM, and that's France Belady, for more on this and the union rivalry plaguing the mining sector. Here's that chat.
It's not a populist approach, it's informed by the nature of the job. If we had chosen to take a populist approach, we would have gone for the 12,500, we would have gone the 16,000, which people were calling, and the 21,000 people who have been calling. We would have mobilized for anarchy. We would have gone on unprotected strike. We would have unleashed violence. We have chosen not to do so and follow the traditional approach of collective bargaining, where we submit our members' expectations as we have done in the past years.
But Frans, do you think that mining companies can afford this? I know that you know about the cost pressures that they are facing. We've had Amplats now, going to be retrenching some workers because of these cost pressures. Do you not think that you perhaps may be adding to the burden?
This is an opening demand. And if the employers are engaging us, and we might find a middle ground. We might find, for example, to say, can we phase this in? Because our assignment is to get to an appropriate level. They might say we can't afford it now, we can afford it next year or the other year, or this is how far we can go. So we are open for engagement, but we had to present our members' expectations as mandated by them in the consultation process.
Now, I know you have probably had a lot of questions from rating agencies, investors really coming down on the specific union. We've seen that the rand hasn't really been performing very well because of the labor unrest and because of these wage demands. What's your take on that? And do you not perhaps take some responsibility for the state of investor sentiment?
Well, we're a responsible union. As I've said, our approach is to engage in the traditional manner of seeking mandate from our members, pass it on to the employers and engage. It is strange that there is this negative reaction when others actually embark on anarchy. There was no such a reaction, whereas a reasonable organization which normally channel its engagement according to the house rules, and will stick to those house rules. The agreement and the settlement might be totally different to what we have submitted. That's part of engagement, is part of the negotiation game.
Is this perhaps maybe one of the strategies that you are using in order to gain back membership?
We have lost membership purely on the basis of intimidation, purely on the basis of killings. We have lost more than 20 members directly, shop stewards who have been killed in that violence. So the recruitment which have happened, which have resulted to that membership loss, it is based on anarchy and violence. We are quite comfortable that in no time, the recent violence, it's evidence to what I'm saying now, that the recent violence, it is a reaction to a flow of members coming back to the NUM. In the week of the recent strike, 800 members came back. This week, we're submitting 700 yesterday, 750 stop orders. So people are coming back because there were false promises.
NUM is probably losing membership because of its close ties to government. What's your take on that?
It cannot be factual. As a trade union, we're not a political party. We're a trade union servicing the interests of workers. At the same time, you have to have an investment insofar as politics are concerned. I find it very strange that people will have issues about our political association with the African National Congress and the Communist Party of South Africa. And yet business invest in politics. They are contributing millions of rands to all the political parties because they are not in politics, but they invest for an influence purpose in the political parties.
Just want to go back to the situation that was happening at Lonmin recently with what we know as turf war. A lot of analysts have said, you should have just walked away because you are in the minority. Why not just vacate the offices and let AMCU take over? We wouldn't be sitting with a number of days where workers were out on strike. Why did you not take the decision to walk away if the principle of winner takes all still applies?
Well, I'm not sure about the principle of winner takes all applies. We think that management in most of these companies is being mischievous. Management rewards anarchy. This other union had facilities as we speak. They had offices, they had personnel which were released by the company, they had resources, right, to man their office and service their members. That's the first thing. Secondly, we've got an agreement with a Lonmin, and that agreement has a provision that should you drop your membership, you'll be given a notice period of X months, and then unless you fail to prove that you have upped your membership, then you lose certain benefits. Now, that agreement is still in existence. You can't just, by pressure of another party, just walk away that agreement. That is negotiating in bad faith.
Can we ever see a truce between the two unions? I mean, a lot, when people think about turf war, first thing that comes to mind is NUM and AMCU.
There's no turf war. The NUM is not in conflict with anybody. We support, will engage, will work with any union.